Bundle up at home, kids. We're climbing a mountain.
Hi, welcome to this week's review. I'm some guy on the internet with an irrelevant opinion. Let's talk about Celeste. Celeste sees you playing as this girl who decides to drop everything one day to go and climb a mountain. The main protagonist reminded me of Hat Girl from A Hat in Time, which led me to dubbing this game A Hat in Time 2, The Pequel. Was that too much of a stretch? That one wasn't funny, was it? I'm sorry. Hey, who's hiring the ghost writers? I think we have to find another haunted graveyard and hire some new ghost writers. Can we do that? Can we do that? Cool, thank you, thank you. Celeste starts with you at the bottom of the titular mountain, where you are greeted by one dickish old lady. She explains that the mountain is a strange place. There's unspeakable things waiting for you on the mountain. Things nobody can really explain. Things you're not supposed to see. So you basically tell the old lady to shove it and begin your endeavor of climbing this mountain for the sake of, I don't know, climbing a mountain? Really though, why does she climb this mountain? Is it because she's on a vision quest? Is it because she needs to see the earth and prove that it's flat? Or is she trying to escape the crippling depression and anxiety that her and millions of other people deal with on a daily basis? If you guessed the third one, you're correct. Yay! Depression. This game hit home for me, and I was not expecting that one bit. From what I had seen of Celeste before buying it, it just looked like another 8-bit game that you'd find on Steam. I didn't see anything special about it, but man, was I wrong. This game tackles many issues that people deal with on a daily basis. And while this game may be colorful and have a sense of childlike wonder to it, it's well grounded in reality. It tackles the feelings of loneliness, depression, anxiety, the internal struggles of not being able to accept yourself or let the past go. I wasn't expecting the story in Celeste to be anything enjoyable, and I'm happy as hell to say that my expectations were shattered. Presentation-wise, Celeste is yet another 3D platformer that's both stunning visually and musically. While this game may initially look like something Steam would just recommend for $2, it's actually bursting with visual variance and chunky bit charm. Each of this game's 8 levels differ drastically from one another when it comes to the visuals. You'll explore an abandoned city and use traffic lights to jump across gaps in one level, only to be chased by your creepy yet cute doppelganger through ancient ruins in the next. Each level you play through has a radically different color palette when compared to the one that came before it. It keeps Celeste from becoming stale or a chore to look at, and gives you that much more incentive to keep pushing forward to see what comes next. There's also a nice bit of stark contrast between the sprites in the game world and the avatars shown whenever the characters have a conversation. These drawn avatars stick out like Dennis Rodman in North Korea. Why? Why? Honestly, Denny Boy sticks out anywhere. Denny Boy. Oh, Denny Boy. The pipes, they are calling. You get my point. Probably not, but that's okay. We've got to move on. The music. Yes, okay, the music. Oh, well. Oh, you'd be surprised. No, you wouldn't, because it's also good. Maybe you're surprised. Maybe not. I don't know. I assumed. I'm sorry. That was very dickish of me to assume. The soundtrack is good. So, that's not an assumption. That's a fact. That's a fucking proven fact. Scientists have looked at this soundtrack for years before the game even came out, and we're like, yeah, it's a fact that this is amazing. This is great, and anyone who says otherwise is wrong. So, if you say otherwise, you're wrong. We're dealing with some spicy tunes today, okay? You might want to blow on them a little bit before you inhale. Don't inhale the food. If you inhale the food, you'll die. The soundtrack is frick dang and delicious from beginning to end. I said licious, not delicious, huh? It's got all sorts of nostalgic bleeps and bloops fluttering around, tickling your ears with crunchy beat bops. If there was one game soundtrack I could compare it to, it would be Fez's OST. And not only is it all well composed, but the way that the music changes up and transitions from one track to another is also impressive. If you jump underwater, the music becomes muted, muffled, almost like you're, oh, you guessed it, underwater. If you're going through a scenario where you're being chased, the music might be fast-paced and anxiety-inducing, but resolve into soft melodies and gentle pads once you're out of harm's way. The music has just as much personality as the levels they're played in. Mixed together, the visuals in the soundtrack make for one of the most musically diverse and visually stunning 2D platformers I have ever played. Now when it comes to gameplay, Celeste is nearly perfect. The controls are easy to understand and are taught to you in creative ways. You learn how to dash in midair after a bird shares this information with you while you begin to plummet to your death. You learn you can wall climb and jump wall to wall if you really need to get a little bit further and your stamina is running low. There aren't really any upgrades to find in Celeste, so pretty much everything you need to know in order to finish the game is taught to you fairly early on. I thought this would lead to the gameplay becoming stale after the first or second hour of this roughly 6-hour game, but I was proven wrong yet again by this gem of an indie title. Each level mixes up the gameplay just enough to keep the game from feeling samey. Couple that with the top-notch presentation, and you have one well-diversified title. I don't mean like near levels of diversification, but it was still enough to keep me entertained. I'm a simple man. But while the controls in Celeste are fairly tight and responsive, I couldn't help but feel that things could have controlled a little bit better, mainly with getting the proper direction while trying to dash. What I mean is it felt like you would push up in hopes of dashing up, only to have your character go in a different direction. This happened a few times, and led me to going off on a tangent for my cat to endure, probably feeling awkward, uncomfortable, and scared, terrified. I probably terrified my cat, you know? Sometimes you just get upset with the game, and you have flashbacks of it, and that game just doesn't go away, and then another game comes and reminds you of that game that messed with you, but then you snap out of it, and you're fine. You might be a little sweaty from wearing 4 jackets, but you're fine. But I managed to get past these parts and eventually complete the game. This wasn't an issue that happened often, but when it did, it was very infuriating. Whenever it did get frustrating though, I would remind myself of all the things Celeste gets right, and that was enough incentive for me to continue playing. Oh well, hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Cleo's in the house, everybody. Let's give it up for our special guest, Cleo. Would you like to turn around and look at the audience? Would you like to look at the audience? Outside of these few isolated incidents, the controls gave me no issue with responsiveness. For the most part, if I died, 10 times out of 9 it was because I was being an idiot, which happened often. As you can see here by this nifty death counter that's shown to you at the end of each level. Look at that. And this happened 8 times. Okay, that's just one death counter. There's 8 levels. I'm not the best at math, but that's what cell phones are for. If you really care that much, 8 times... I can't read that number because it's not actually there, but you get the idea. Celeste is difficult, but rewarding, and is definitely worth putting up with the occasionally annoying controls. And if you want more, there's always collectibles. There's strawberries that you can collect, B-sides that unlock levels that I didn't even touch because I barely beat the game, and even a speedrun timer if you're serious about never having a sex life. The main story should take you about 6 or so hours to complete, and that's without going out of your way to collect things. Throw in all of these collectibles, which are conveniently placed in the most inconvenient places, as well as the bonus levels, and you could easily double your playtime here. Celeste has a hiccup here or there with its controls, but it's easily forgiven when compared to all the things that the game gets right. Altogether, I'd say that the gameplay, like everything else in Celeste, is well done. Okay, let's talk about the verdict, so I can get out of these jackets because I'm dying and I need water. Water! Celeste is pretty much a perfect game in my eyes. If you can get past the occasionally annoying controls here or there, you'll be in for a damn good time. My entire playthrough, my palms were sweating, my heart was racing, my foot was tapping away feverishly. I was drawn into the story, and I was able to relate to it more than I initially thought I would. I was put through a visual and musical journey that I won't forget anytime soon. I was challenged by constantly evolving controls and drastic changes in level design. All of this together makes Celeste a must-buy in my opinion. But we don't rate games on a must-buy scale now, do we? No, no, no. No. When I like a game and I think it's worth full price, I let you know that it's gonna get a verdict of
Definitely worth full price.
So that was my 2 cents on Celeste. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did and want to see more reviews like this every week, maybe click that subscribe thing. You don't have to, but it'd be pretty cool if you did. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.